Oh wait, we're recording. Hey everyone, it's Artsteepa, your eternally tired artist at the moment. I know I'm late, but happy holidays and happy new year. Or not, based on the way things are already going. Just don't look too closely at the news, kids. But that's not what we're here for. I am here because I have emerged once more from my den of solitude. Is that a Superman thing? Who the hell knows? Anyways, I have come out of hiding once more because I have made art. Finally. It's been really hard with my work schedule is intense, but I was able to make some art, and I had good reason to, because last month, obviously, Christmas was on the brain, and around that time of year, I'm always thinking of what I'm gonna make for my siblings, because whenever Christmas comes around, I love making them really fancy, cool-looking art. Of course, why wouldn't I? They're my siblings. They deserve the best. They want what they want, and I give them what they want, you know? I decided to make fan art of their favorite games this year. My brother has fallen head over heels, has been in love for a while with Helldivers 2. It's his favorite gaming experience at the time of recording this. And then my sister went right down the rabbit hole of Love and Deepspace. Yep. The popular otome game that came out I think a year ago, but she really in particular loves Silas from Love and Deepspace. So I decided to make my siblings exactly what they wanted for their gifts. So we're gonna watch me make those in, well, not real time, but speed draw. Both of these took about 4 hours and 40 minutes. My brother's took longer for a lot of obvious reasons. But let's just enjoy it together, shall we? We're starting off with the Helldivers 2 piece. There were two approaches that I had in mind for this. I either was going to go with something simplistic and more focused on a propaganda style type poster, or I was going to do something really epic and cool. And I think ultimately I ended up just doing something really epic and cool because I couldn't help myself after a certain point. I wanted to render at least some decent shadows and lighting. I wanted to capture the dunes at sunset, like as shown in the promotional materials for Helldivers 2. I wanted to have fun, so I was like, you know what? The propaganda type style can wait another time. This is inspired off a painting, a very famous painting called Liberty Leading the People by French artist Eugene Delacroix. It's some revolutionary art, I believe from the Second French Revolution, not the guillotine one. So that was the main source of inspiration, as you can tell from the poses and the composition. I didn't stick to it one-to-one perfectly. For example, there are some younger fighters in the painting that look almost like children, which is a little concerning. Obviously, there are no children in the Helldivers, so I modified the composition a little bit so that way I could have, for example, this one Helldiver just kind of clinging to the edge of the rock precipice thing I have, looking up at Lady Liberty. Yeah, I just also drew not only from the painting, but I also gathered a lot of reference material from the promotional art and cutscenes. That way I could just really help maintain the feel of the Helldivers artistic look and make this piece of fan art feel like it belongs and fits with the visual library of this game. Now I know what some of you are already thinking when you look at the original painting and then you see the artwork unfolding before your very eyes. And no, we are not censoring the boobs. We are committing to the original vision of the painting. Here's an artistic hill I'll die on. The human body itself is not inherently sexual, and I will stand by that. I was fortunate enough to take life drawing classes for my animation degrees in community college, and learning to draw the human body and observe it, it was a wonderful experience. It really shaped up my skills, but it also gave me an appreciation for the body and just almost kind of healing to be able to look at the human body without any kind of lenses put on it. You're just simply observing a person, whether they're crouching, sitting, relaxed, holding some kind of fake weapon prop or just whatever. There's just a lot of inherent beauty and naturalness about the human body, and I personally feel like we could really stand to relax with that when it comes to art. Anyways, I'll get off my soapbox with that, but yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Now, I was able to have fun working on this piece, but the one thing I will always get irritated at whenever I make any kind of artistic gifts for my brother is, I swear to God, 99.99999% of everything he likes involves armor and guns and ships, and I hate drawing those. There's so much detail, so much to keep up with, like the lighting, ridges, the exact make of a gun. It's all way more than I'd like to work on. It's just too much for me. So ultimately, I did my best to simplify the suits and the guns as much as possible, and especially minimize the amount of guns that are actually visible, because if you couldn't tell from my Left 4 Dead big project, I suck at guns. I try and get away with the bare minimum implication of them as much as possible, so I just did the best I could with the ships in the sky, the armor, the weapons, and I think it ultimately looks okay. Could definitely be done a lot better by someone else, but I just really wanted to focus on bringing out the vibes of this piece. Once I was able to focus more on the dunes, the sky, color grading, lighting, and shading, I was finally in my happy zone. But you know what? It's not just my brother who enjoys playing Helldivers 2. It's me, actually. He got me into the game. He literally, I can't remember when it was, but sometime last year, he literally gifted me Helldivers 2 on Steam, and that way we could start playing together. And it was a little bit rough at first, you know, getting through training, leveling up. I'm currently at level 39, which is not, you know, it's nothing to boast about, but considering the fact that I am still pretty skittish with first-person shooter games, I consider that to be a pretty decent win. And you know what? My brother is a really good Helldivers 2 mentor, and we've been able to have a lot of fun. We've been able to really make a lot of great memories playing this game together, leveling up, helping each other out. He's like really good with following up on main missions. I'm just happy to be a team player. I will get all of the minor points of interest. I will get all those missing shuttles. That's not what they're called, but like the little things that can have requisition slips, medals, rare samples, that kind of deal. And sometimes we play with some of Josh's friends, and that's been really cool because I haven't really played with anyone gaming-wise besides my brother for a lot of obvious reasons, but it's been really nice. And the times when we've played publicly, people have been really chill. It's been a great gaming experience. So working on this piece is not just wish fulfillment for my brother, but it's also a way to commemorate the time we've spent together, the fun we've had with this game, and how it's brought us closer together. Really had a lot of fun working on this. I think it ended up turning out super good, and he was really pleased with it as well. So honestly, in the end, that's really all that matters. Before I say anything about the process behind this piece, oh my god, every time I see the start of this speed draw, the original pose and expression of Silas just looks so goofy to me. I'm like, how does this end up as something totally different and better later on? This piece was really a case of trusting the process because, yeah, again, from the very start, everything looks really wonky. I'm just trying to lay out colors and the figure and the expression, and I knew that ultimately it was an important step to getting to the final piece, but it looks so bad. Anyway, so this piece takes a windy road, stylistically speaking. I originally wanted this to be very inspired by Art Nouveau, and it ultimately is. You can still see it coming through, but then you'll see later on in the speed draw, I suddenly am like, wait, what if I emulate stained glass and like the way that the light comes through the glass, the texture of it. So, I don't know. It's Art Nouveau meets stained glass meets me, I guess. But I ultimately wanted this to be a very dramatic piece because it's more of a character portrait than the Helldivers pieces. I really wanted to try and get like some really intense vibes going into it. So thanks to the info provided from my sister and from having my Instagram feed inevitably flooded with Love and Deepspace content, I was familiar enough with Silas to try getting kind of the vibe of his character with the figure. With him, it's not just about getting someone who's like, you know, powerful, dark romance vibes, but it's also, I came to realize, it's capturing someone who is powerful, but is also really comfortable in his own skin. He's very collected and calculated. So I purposely put him in a very relaxed pose, even his expression is very relaxed. But yeah, essentially I'm just trying to capture a very powerful but very relaxed, content, silently smug kind of character. And yeah, while Silas is definitely not one of the kinds of characters I enjoy in fiction, I still do ultimately understand and respect his place in the game and just the presence that he provides. I also included a flower in this piece. It was supposed to be the datura flower that he enjoys, but I could not remember which flower it was, so I referenced the wrong flower, but it's close enough. It's a tiger lily. Besides, with all of the kitten talk that he does, it might as well be a good substitute. So if you're wondering, yes, my sister did get me a little bit involved in Love and Deepspace. I'm not affiliated with you guys, I swear, but the real question is, with learning as much as I have about it, do I like it? Yeah? Kind of. It's a layered answer, so obviously I am watching gameplay for this game. I am not about to throw away everything into a gacha game. And also, my personal preferences with games is like the pay once and then you're good kind of thing. I don't do any spending. And also, this is not my typical genre of game. I'm not into otome at all. And generally when it comes to media and fiction, I prefer, if romance is gonna be involved, I prefer it more as like the side dish, you know? It's not the primary focus. Also, I am just literally the wrong target demographic for the otome game market. But what I do like from what I've learned about Love and Deepspace is I am interested in the main story. I'm not typically a sci-fi kind of person, but the lore and the characters they've been building up has been very interesting to follow, and I'm definitely intrigued to find out where the story ends up going. The animation, I will say, the animation is amazing because I swear to God, they somehow know how to animate eyes in a way where the acting is so convincing. Like, typically with video game animated characters, like, everything else looks good. They could have really high definition graphics, but like the eyes are just always gonna be a little bit dead or not as lively, you know? Like, that's usually the hardest piece. But probably because this is an otome game where obviously the looks of the love interests are a big important factor, just the eyes, it's just so convincing, especially with Raphael, one of the love interests. His eyes, I swear to God, I don't know what deal the animators struck with the devil to make acting that good, but like, it is so amazing. Very awesome. The writing also manages to be pretty good in certain points, and again, this is why I really enjoy the main story aspect of the game. Some of the interactions between characters are either extremely touching or downright hilarious, and there's just a lot of great detail to the dialogue, to the moments that are going on in the story. Recently, I just watched the main update for Xavier and Raphael, and the writing in both of those was just really amazing, and just kind of the quality of the writing and the story development exceeded my expectations. So if there's one thing I can always appreciate with games, it's very well told stories. A lot of my favorite games are more narrative based than anything, so I was really surprised by Love and Deepspace's ability to have actually pretty good writing and story development and this, so it's definitely a game I want to keep up with just to see where that main story goes. So there is a lot that I do enjoy about Love and Deepspace. But obviously there's a couple of things that I'm not as much into. For one, I do wish that the MC was a little more centered in her own story, because she actually, if you know anything about Love and Deepspace, she's a very pivotal factor for a lot of things going on, but she doesn't quite feel enough like her own character. I don't know, maybe that's just me. I also wish they could do a better job with lighting and color grading when it comes to versions of MC that are people of color, cause yeah, that's been an issue they've dealt with on and off, and it's like, come on, it's the least you can do. And then just for me personally speaking, like, I think there's a lot of potential with the story and the characters. A lot of potential that ends up going untapped for the sake of obviously the otome factor, which makes sense. Again, this is an otome game. I guess perhaps I just kind of feel like for me to really enjoy this game, it would have to be something almost completely different. There would still be the romance element in it, of course, but I don't know. Maybe focusing more on MC and like developing the world a bit more. I've been really inspired recently by games like Silent Hill 2 or even the recent Silent Hill F, so I don't know, I'm just really looking for like rich experiences with story, and I mean, Love and Deepspace is Love and Deepspace, but I can see in my head like a version of the game, or at least the story and everything, where it could be a lot richer. That's just personal preference, you know, so, but yeah, overall, I think it's a pretty decent game, you know? Again, it's not in my typical genre or the kinds of games I would normally be interested in, but it really caught me off guard, and I want to see where it goes. And if you're gonna ask if I have a favorite love interest, well, you can go right off. But anyways, those are the two pieces. I had so much fun working on both of them. I really enjoyed capturing the different vibes of each, and when it came with Silas, really trying to get that essence of his character. And in the process of making both these pieces, I honestly had like tiny little breakthroughs in the way that I draw characters or set up environments. I obviously haven't been as consistent with drawing recently. Work has kept me very busy, but the one thing that has made up for the lack of consistency is I feel like I've gotten a lot better at seeing, like truly seeing things in the world around me, people, environments, so that way whenever I do sit down to draw, I don't struggle as much when it comes to crafting an environment or setting up a character, trying to get a mood. Like, it's just starting to come a lot easier to me, you know? I'm also trying to improve my values. I don't think I exactly succeeded all the time with both these pieces, but I did my best. And you know what? Sometimes it's not all about values, okay? I made postcard size prints for my siblings just because I wanted some kind of physical form of this, but I know neither of them have space for like a large print. And I made different color graded versions to see, because I didn't know how they would print over at Walgreens, of course. But I found that postcard size prints, the color looks pretty good no matter what you do, so that's also cool to know. And also, I was telling my siblings, but I think I'm gonna have to start printing more of my art in postcards like this, because it's just so awesome getting to hold that art in my hands and like see it outside the screen. It's a really cool thing, and if you also make art, then you should do that for yourself too. Postcard size prints are very inexpensive to make, and it's just a really cool feeling to be able to have the art physically with you. I feel like it just really makes you value what you create even more. If you enjoyed this, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I am hoping to make way more videos this year than I did last year. In fact, my upcoming video, which will be up later in the month, is gonna be kind of this year's outlook for projects and things I might work on. There's gonna be more of an emphasis on original concepts this year, because I do actually have quite a few of my own stories that I want to create. I'll obviously do, you know, the occasional fan art based video, whether it's like an animatic, animation, or I'm just simply sitting down to draw a fan fan art for some of my favorite pieces of media, but I also want to develop my own stories and characters, and I'm hoping that maybe some people might be into those as well as I develop them. That will be coming up in the next video, closer to the end of the month. And yeah, if you want to stick around for what comes next, be sure to subscribe, and I will be back with a new one later. That was a weird outro. Anyways, Artstiva over and out.